Ornette Coleman and Denardo Coleman. The first question, how do you like Cologne?
Well, I was in Cologne in the 60s, and it was very, very good then, and I think it's better now because the younger musicians are taking more interest in their own expression. And as I was saying before, the producer of this concert is a fellow musician himself, and that makes everything real healthy.
Yeah.
Because they understand, you know.
Yeah. Some questions about your band. The Primetime Band is a real working band. And I heard that you have regular rehearsals with the band in Manhattan.
Yeah, we as you know, Denardo is my manager, and he's also a member of the band.
And it's also your son?
Yeah, he's also my son.
Yeah.
And we do lots of rehearsals because of the particular kind of music that we are playing, which is called harmonics. And lots of people ask me what harmonics is or how do you play it, and I was trying to explain to a person today that basically harmonic is a philosophy and a theory that makes sound into logic that has some meaning to human beings.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
And you work on it every week?
Every time I can afford it. Every time I can afford to have a rehearsal.
Yeah.
I have to talk to my manager, you know.
Yeah. But the rehearsals are very important for you.
Oh, well, I think rehearsals are important for anyone that's trying to perfect something.
Yeah.
I was saying before that basically it is ideas that make civilization advance, and if people aren't trying to bring the kind of ideas that they have in their subconscious or their conscious to the surface, no one will ever experience the advancement of how each person could grow. Yeah. Because, you know, without ideas, we'd all be lost.
Yeah.
You know, so I believe that every human being should try to strive and get his ideas into the arena of survival.
Yeah.
That'd be good, you know.
Yeah. Ornette Coleman, you are one of the pioneers, or maybe the pioneer of free jazz, and your legendary recording called Free Jazz appears about 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
And what's the difference between free jazz and your music of today?
Well, in free jazz, actually, I never called my music free jazz. When I was with the record company, that was a title because, as you know, I started playing music just from having to find ways to express logic and sound. And at that time, there wasn't a title, but I had always called my music harmonic, but their companies called it free jazz because the person seemed as if he was getting up playing from the top of his head, but I have never done that. I've always been very, very thought out in what I was trying to do. So I would think the difference between yesterday and today, that it has gotten a lot better. Yeah. That's the difference.
But they changed something, the instruments or others?
Well, actually, I originally wanted to have a large band, but the economics of having a band is very hard to come by. So when I decided to put the guitars and the bass, I found that I could have a much larger sound. So I wasn't trying to become popular or rock anything. All I wanted to do was to expand on the compositional things I was writing, because I've always told reporters that I considered myself a composer that performs. And just before we came here, Denardo had set up a festival of music that I have written that some people would call classical music in New York at Carnegie Hall just 2 weeks ago. And, you know, I do lots of writing, but it's so hard to have that music played because most people just think of me as a saxophone player.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What do you think about the presence and the future of improvised music in the United States? The most musicians in Manhattan are playing standards, the old stuff, and they are looking back. I think there are no new strong ideas, and there are no personalities who have the power to influence and to inspire young musicians.
Well, I believe that in the West we have something called pop music, classical music, and jazz. Well, those titles, there are many other types of sound that is just as creative and just as improvising. For instance, non-tempered music, people that play instruments like Turkish, Chinese, Russian, Jewish, African, all those kind of sounds are called non-tempered sounds, but they're called folk music. And until every person is allowed to stand on this stage like I'm standing and play without a category, then the problem that you're asking will not be solved until that happens. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to inspire everyone to do that. What you're saying about musicians having to play standards or whatever, that's probably for economics, not for creativity. And basically, creativity will outlast all the economics, you know. But it can't outlast in a prejudiced way. It has to outlast in a very creative, eternal way. And I really believe that every person that has a way of expressing something that means something to them can bring something to sound that has never existed before. You know, that's why I believe in homiletics. And I really think that when the day will come where that the categories of sound will not involve any race, but just sound itself.
Yeah.
That's going to be a beautiful moment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The last question to the manager, to Denardo. Why do you give only a few concerts a year? Is it economical or artistical or creative?
Well, it's a combination. Of course, economics always influences business and how much you can expand. Also, to really present what you do in the best possible way, sometimes the resources have to come together, and that takes the time. But I think in the future you'll see more and more performances of the band.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And when will you come the next time to Cologne?
I'm going to come and play my symphony next time in Cologne.
Symphony.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the next thing we're going to do.
Super. Okay.
Okay.
Ornette Coleman and the Prime Time Band.
And a theory that makes sound into logic that has some meaning to human beings.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
And you work on it every week?
Every time I can afford it. Every time I can afford to have a rehearsal.
Yeah?
I have to talk to my manager, you know.
Yeah. But the rehearsals are very important for you.
Oh, well, I think rehearsals are important for anyone that's trying to perfect something, for fellow musician themselves, and that makes everything real healthy.
Yeah.
Because they understand, you know.
Yeah. Some questions about your band. The Primetime Band is a real working band. And I heard that you have regular rehearsals with the band in Manhattan.
Yeah, we are. As you know, Denardo is my manager, and he's also a member of the band. Yeah. I was saying before that basically it is ideas that make civilization advance, and if people aren't trying to bring the kind of ideas that they have in their subconscious or their conscious to the surface, no one will ever experience the advancement of.
And it's also your son?
Yeah, he's also my son.
Yeah.
And we do lots of rehearsals because of the particular kind of music that we are playing, which is called melodics. And lots of people ask me what melodics is or how do you play it, and I was trying to explain to a person today that basically melodic is a philosophy.
Ornette Coleman and Denardo Coleman. The first question, how do you like Cologne?
Well, I was in Cologne in the 60s, and it was very, very good then, and I think it's better now because the younger musicians are taking more interest in their own expression. And as I was saying before, the producer of this concert is a